Did I leave the stove on? Why does it echo so much in my head? I'm so glad the gala is here once again. 10,000 people depend on us a year. We have to make it work. Yoga and meditation always calm me down and get me ready for what happens next. Maybe I'll just meditate and take it easy. Oh, I should have put my cell phone on vibrate. Now, what was that mantra again? Donors, grants, board members, contributors, honorees. But all of this leads to all the services. What are the services? The food pantry, nursing services, helping Holocaust survivors, 40,000 kosher meals on wheels a year, 130,000 hours of home health services, 28,000 hours of mental health services. Without the community, we can't provide all these many services. We just have to work together to make it work.
Good evening.
That's weird. That doesn't sound like me.
Good evening. I am Toby Goldberger, JFS board member and president, who has served as MC of this event for over 40 years. I am pleased to welcome you to our second virtual gala dinner. Normally, we would be celebrating a record year of service delivered from JFS in person. We are still facing challenges for in-person events, and people are still in need of our assistance. I will introduce you to the new face of Jewish Family Service. As tonight, you will hear from the many new ways we are serving the community from the people who are behind it. During the pandemic, all of our community partners, from our wonderful Federation staff and leadership, our own board of directors, elected officials, donors, our staff, the New Jersey Pandemic Relief Fund, the Union County Division on Aging, and the Board of Chosen Commissioners have all come together to battle this pandemic. From the YMHA of Union County, who cooks all of those 140 kosher meals on wheels 5 days a week, to the Jewish Community Center of Scotch Plains and Jewish Educational Center students who are always ready to help collect food and work in the Charlotte Shack food pantry. Our synagogues have been with us every step of the way. While this battle is not over yet, I can reassure you that we are succeeding in helping those most in need. All of our honorees, staff, and special friends of the agency have taken the time to film a personal message about how different aspects of our service have touched them. Despite the pandemic, we have tried to maintain a little of the flavor of our actual gala dinner, and I am addressing you tonight from the ballroom of the Crystal Plaza in Livingston, New Jersey. It is my privilege to introduce former Lily K. Gottlieb honoree and dear friend of the agency, Peter Till, who will present the award to his son, Harrison. Peter and his family stepped up to the plate to provide us storage pods that were needed to store the overflow of food to meet the needs of the community during the pandemic.
Memories of the dark time of the COVID-19 pandemic never strays. Yet that experience finds new relevance to Jewish Family Services of Central New Jersey. We now realize that the world has not been really so safe. In the fog of the current challenges, we have to embrace this reality, but most of all, our resilience. To possibly now fail in any way simply can never be allowed. We continue to take on food insecurity so that no one should be left behind or somehow feels ashamed because of these pandemic circumstances. Jewish Family Service continues to stand as the calm in the storm. When talking about enough to eat, this organization will surely beat back that fear and anxiety. Jewish Family Services' strength is its certainty, and that its mission will be served. Now, specifically you, Harrison, one of our 3 sons, all of who have grown to be very fine men. These days, many lament how some people seem to lack patience, the need for instant success, the need for immediate results. But unquestionably, you have now come to this moment. It does seem that you have become that person, someone who wants to be taken very seriously, and that you have made the choice to be part of something larger, maybe even the hope for unmitigated leadership and then embracing the mantle of leadership. This all done along with your professional life, also being a son, a brother, a brother-in-law, husband, and father. What you have contributed at the food bank is to be truly appreciated in that it is lasting and it is real. As I have said to you and your brothers previously, with effort and commitment, your own novel is here today. And just maybe, you will have become the change you wish to see in the world. And to be certain, in 2021, we are now riding on your shoulders. Naturally, we are bursting with pride. So now allow me to formally congratulate you, Ariel and Addison, the pride of the Till and Diamond families, the pride of the Duke Blue Devils and the Ohio State Buckeyes, and now the pride of Jewish Family Services of Central New Jersey with your receipt of the much coveted Lily Gottlieb Award. Congratulations.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this incredible honor. I am humbled to accept this award for so many reasons. It is surreal to stand not only where so many successful others have stood to support Jewish Family Services, but where my own father was when he received this award just a few short years ago. There are so many people I would like to thank, but before I do, I'd really like to share my background with you and what Jewish Family Services means to me. Growing up in northern New Jersey, my parents, Peter and Debbie, raised my brothers, Andrew, Grant, and I to understand the importance of being Jewish, creating a legacy, and to always help others in any way possible. My parents were our heroes and best friends. They gave us all the core values and work ethic we would need to be successful, and we ran with it so fast that people nicknamed us the Flying Till Brothers. I can vividly remember countless examples of our family helping people that were knocked down and facing a lot of adversity. Instead of running away from the challenge, our family ran towards the issue to help, assist, and rescue in any way we were able to provide support. That is exactly what Jewish Family Services means to me. As I have spent time with Tom Beck, Mark Ginsburg, and others who have selflessly given their resources to Jewish Family Services, I have personally witnessed an organization that serves others when they are in need, not when they are thriving. It is the type of organization that I am so proud to be a part of as a result of their mission to serve and help all those in need, not divide. The honor of accepting this award and speaking to all of you this evening is right up at the top of anything I have done. Several highlights include playing football and track and field at Duke University in undergrad and at The Ohio State University during graduate school. Not to mention, I once won a dance contest at the world-famous Apollo Theater in Harlem. I share these experiences with you because I know what it feels like to be the minority in a lot of different settings, but it never mattered to me because I had the durability to survive and advance. Each experience has molded me into what I hope is a forever progressive best version of myself, and out of all these moments, I would truthfully like to acknowledge that my greatest accomplishment was marrying my beautiful wife Ariel and being parents to our daughter Addison. Being a husband and father matters more to me than anything. Ariel and I have a responsibility to educate Addison on the importance of being Jewish and to pass our family values on to her. I would like to thank my in-laws, Mark, Elizabeth, Lee, and Zach Diamond, for their love, support, generosity, and for welcoming me into their family. I would like to thank the Wilf family for their support in nominating me and for their continued friendship that our families have had for years. I would like to thank Brett Tansman for believing in me and trusting me to serve in a leadership capacity for the National Young Leadership Cabinet of Federation. I'd like to thank Mark Ginsburg for all of his volunteer work at Jewish Family Services and for introducing me to my wife. I would like to thank my parents for their unconditional love and for raising me the right way to be the person that I am today. I would like to thank my brothers, Andrew and Grant, my sister-in-law, Lindsay, my nephew, Jordan, and my niece, Sydney, for inspiring me in so many different ways every day. Lastly, I would like to thank Jewish Family Services for everything they do, and I promise to make you proud.
You know, Mark Ginsburg and Mark Wilf asked me to get involved looking at utilizing a basement for training of healthcare professionals, and we started looking at that, and all of a sudden I got involved, and it was very meaningful seeing all these little incremental projects. I was blown away about what everyone does and how everything works and how many people get touched in here. And I'm thankful that both of you invited and brought me into this.
Well, Larry, not only are you thankful, but we're thankful that we have you. And as you said, it started with the home health care facility in the basement of the building that we're in right now. And then from there, it moved on to renovating the garage that we were using for the food pantry. And you were so helpful to us in designing it and getting it built. And the first thing that happened on the day that we opened up was, we don't have enough space. And from there, it was a couple of years later, but we then designed a second building, and that's the facility that we are currently in right now. We have 2 garages outside, and as you can see over here, we're still busting out at the seams.
Right.
And so I'm going to tell you right now that you and I are going to have to come up with something else going forward over
Well,
here.
we'll figure this out. It's been great coming up with ideas and helping out, and best of all, seeing that it's getting used and seeing the need from the community. Truly wonderful to see how JFS took this little underutilized garage and really made lemonade out of lemons.
And to Larry's credit, every time he has come back, and he has never met a challenge here that he hasn't been able to overcome. And we're so thankful to him for it, because as you can see, it's just a beautiful facility outside, and the community has really benefited from it. Phyllis Reich, a board member here at JFS, was absolutely incredible. Phyllis, I just, on behalf of myself and Larry and various other people here, just want to thank you for what you've done for us here.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the JFS President, Fred Kessler, who will present the Miriam S. Karch Award to longtime Elizabeth resident and board member Phyllis Reich.
Jewish Family Service is pleased to present the Miriam Karch Award to Phyllis Reich in recognition of the outstanding service to JFS and to the community. A lifelong resident of Elizabeth, Phyllis grew up in a family where community service was important. I particularly recall when her father stood on the bima as president of Temple B'nai Israel, which my family attended. Phyllis has followed that course not only through her volunteer service, but also in her professional life. 18 years ago, she left the private sector to take a position in the Department of Planning and Community Development of the City of Elizabeth, where she has worked on numerous projects for the betterment of the city. More recently, she has taken on added responsibility of strengthening connections with the arts community, and she is currently working on installing murals throughout the city. Phyllis has been an active member of the Board of Directors of Jewish Family Service for several years. She currently chairs the Public Relations Committee, where she has encouraged and expanded marketing and social media presence, and she has helped to connect the agency with other community resources and organizations. Phyllis also finds time to assist various social and civic organizations, including the YWCA of Eastern Union County, Groundwork Elizabeth, and the Rotary Club of Elizabeth. Phyllis, on behalf of Jewish Family Service, it is my pleasure to present you with the Miriam Karch Award.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, JFS and everybody. It's an honor, definitely an honor. Thank you.
My dear friends, Phyllis Bernstein Kushner and her husband, Bob Kushner, former recipients of this award, will present the Ruth Belinker Award for Outstanding Volunteer Service to a most deserving couple, Elise and David Deutsch.
David and I have lived in Scotch Plains for 31 years and have been involved in our synagogue, Congregation Beth Israel, the Jewish Federation, and the JCC for many years. We were certainly well aware of the work of the Jewish Family Service, but it wasn't until participating in my first Federation Supermarket Sweep fundraiser in March of 2009 that I realized the full impact of the agency's work with food insecurity. At the time, my co-chair Janice Weinberg and I saw a need in our county, and with the Federation's help, we had a very successful event for several years. In 2016, Janice and I were asked to serve on the board of JFS. Until then, I knew of JFS and the food pantry, but was not aware until I joined the board of how many individuals and families were helped yearly and how many programs and services were provided to enable people in need to improve the quality of their lives. I served on the committee that helped design the new pantry. Because of COVID, so many more families have had food shortages and turned to JFS for help. Volunteers like myself and my husband David donate our time every week to help bag, stock shelves, and distribute the food and fresh vegetables that were purchased or donated to the pantry. I try to do my best to raise money and awareness for all the wonderful things JFS does to help the people in Union County. It takes a village to volunteer for all the available positions these days, and along with my husband David, we are proud to be part of that village. We are both so honored to be this year's recipients of the Ruth Blanker Award for Outstanding Service. Among many other things Ruth did for the agency, packing the food pantry was the one she enjoyed the most.
Upon my retirement, I decided I have to do something besides be retired. My wife gave me the idea, or should I say a suggestion, that I should get involved with her at the JFS and see what I think. Well, I took that idea and put it into action. I've turned my energy towards the institution and decided that there is a need for my help. So I've chosen to do the things necessary to make the institution that much stronger by helping in the way I do. I want to thank everyone, for this has instilled and enlightened me that we truly are one of the same and should extend a hand to others and help them as the help is needed. So thank you once again for choosing Elise and I as this year's recipients of this fantastic award.
Lovely to be here. It's my pleasure to represent the Jewish Family Services. As a board member, as a past recipient of an award from this organization, I'm here with my husband, Bob Kushner, who's a generous donor, and we're here to represent the community and give this award to our dear friends, Elise and David Deutsch, who do so much for the community and really outstanding citizens. Is there a word called mensches? They are mensches.
Thinking of some short remarks about Elise and David Deutsch was easy because we have two individuals of the highest character to talk about. David and Elise are model Jewish communal citizens. They know about giving back and commitment. JFS and the Jewish community are lucky and fortunate to have the Deutsch family on our team, and I know they will continue to do what they do as long as they can physically do it. Kol HaKavod, Mazel Tov, on this well-deserved honor. I'm proud to be part of the Deutsch family as their friend.
Hello, I'm Dov Ben-Shimon, CEO of our Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West. I'm here to say thank you to our Jewish Family Service of Central New Jersey. JFS Central had to transform almost all of its services in response to the new challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Mental health services were changed from in-person counseling to telehealth. These services increased by 25% since the beginning of the pandemic. Home health, nursing, transportation, and kosher Meals on Wheels staff all had to use protective equipment to prevent the spread of the virus. You should know that there hasn't been a single instance of transmission of COVID-19 among JFS Central staff or clients. JFS's food pantry services increased dramatically due to the pandemic. 4,000 individuals received food pantry support with an increase in the numbers of shifts. They were able to pivot their support groups for caregivers of people with disabilities to an online format and increased their frequency to meet the needs of the community. I want you to know that we're deeply grateful for Jewish Family Service, for its lay and professional leadership, for its array of services, and for its commitment to our community. On behalf of all of us at our Jewish Federation, thank you.
Elie Wiesel was fond of saying that each survivor has his or her own epic story of survival based on their individual experiences, and he devoted his life to telling those stories. At JFS, we are tasked with helping survivors continue their journey as we help ensure that they age in place in the comfort of their homes. The pandemic has been especially challenging for our survivors who 76 years after the end of the war are already so frail and vulnerable. For many of our survivors, Cafe Europa, which was a monthly in-person socialization program with lunch and entertainment, was their only form of socialization. One of our survivors, who has no family, told me that finding JFS has been a lifesaver. We are all partners in being able to share in these testaments of survival and lives well lived.
My father, David Lefkowitz's amazing story of survival began as a young boy whose life was disrupted by World War II. Born in 1930 in Czechoslovakia, his stable life ended at age 10 when the family, which included his parents and 5 other siblings, were separated and spent the war years in work camps in France, hiding in farms and forests, then running from country to country until they were liberated at the end of the war. In 1948, an uncle sponsored my father, his mother, and his siblings, and they settled in Hillside, New Jersey. Their father did not survive. My dad was around 18 when he arrived and had to find work, which wasn't easy with his limited English. He eventually became a butcher and settled in Cranford with his brother Fred, got married, and had my other sisters, Sherry, and twin girls, myself, and my sister Robin. Robin and I moved to Israel 19 years ago with our families and came to visit as often as possible until the pandemic, almost 2 years ago, which made it impossible to see our dad. Since Sherry doesn't live in New Jersey, we depend more than ever on all the services he receives from the Jewish Family Service through the Claims Conference and many other grants. Now approaching 92, with various health issues, Dad receives around-the-clock home health aid services, supervised by the wonderful nursing staff headed by Maria Mullen, transportation to and from his doctor's appointments, accompanied by Martha, his daytime aide, all coordinated by JFS social worker Alyssa Reiner. After years of FaceTiming, texting, and emailing because of the pandemic, this is the first time I'm meeting with Alyssa, whom my wonderful dad refers to as a wonderful person who takes care of me like a daughter. In addition to managing all of the pieces of my dad's day-to-day daycare, Alyssa helped the agency get the Uniper virtual senior center system installed on his TV, which allows him to communicate through WhatsApp with all of his 11 grandchildren and 23 great-grandchildren in Israel and the U.S. Uniper lets him see all those great-grandkids all the time. And for him, it's just like having them visit. This 92-year-old Holocaust survivor is now surviving with all the help from the staff of the Jewish Family Service. On behalf of my entire family, we are truly grateful.
Alyssa is a wonderful person, and she treats me like a whole father.
This is what Dave always wants, just surrounded by women.
I'm a lucky guy. No one girl, I have 2 girls.
And his aides are also lovely.
Dave and I first met when we would garden together. And that's important to mention because he put me to work because he grew up on a farm in France, and he told me exactly what to do and how to prune the vegetables, everything like that. We had a fun time together.
Yeah.
With the pandemic and everything like that, it's really been a challenge to make our survivors feel a little bit less alone, to remember and to remind them that we're there for them. And I think at the end of the day, really what's important for us and especially for you as your social worker, is that you feel that we're there for you, that we put the family in Jewish family, and that we help you, live with the dignity and respect that you deserve.
A lot of our people wouldn't be here if we didn't have our listeners.
Good evening. I'm Alice Greenberg-Sheedy, Program Manager of the Alzheimer's and Related Dementia Program at JFS. This program provides comprehensive support for someone who is becoming forgetful due to dementia caused by disease such as Alzheimer's, vascular disease, or Parkinson's. There are no known cures for these diseases, and very few treatment options are available. Living with and caring for someone with dementia can be stressful, lonely, and an intensely emotional time. Families and individuals living with dementia are not alone at JFS. Through our specially trained team of nurses, social workers, activity coordinators, certified home health aides, and volunteers, we provide home care services, caregiver support groups, counseling services, education, and social programs such as Memory Cafe concerts and the Coffee House Day program. And in the past year and a half, all of these supports and services have been adapted so that they are COVID safe. For clients and JFS staff alike, our monthly Memory Cafe concerts were a highlight. Together, to the rhythm of the music, we would clap our hands, tap our toes, dance, and feel whole. We are so looking forward to putting on those dancing shoes again and are working diligently to bring our in-person programming back in a safe way for all. I thank all of our families for trusting us to look out for you and those you hold dear. And I thank all of you tonight for looking out for JFS with your support.
Hello, my name is Mairead, and this is my colleague Nancy. We are two of the nurses here at JFS. Together with our coworkers, we are responsible for and supervise the in-home care of almost 200 vulnerable seniors.
We are proud to work as part of an interdisciplinary team to help our clients age safely and try to keep them as comfortable as possible. This pandemic has been very tough on everyone, especially our seniors. And even with hope in sight, effects of COVID have taken their toll on everyone. Clients rely on us not only to be there for them physically on our regular visits, but emotionally and even spiritually as well.
Our clients are getting older and living longer, needing more support and medical care along the way. We often find ourselves acting as an advocate for both the client and the family, contacting physicians and assisting to access support services such as hospice, physical therapy, and wound care.
Additionally, clients who only needed about 6 to 10 hours of home care a week 2 years ago often require double that amount now.
We are happy to be part of a team of nurses and 60 certified home health aides at JFS. Our mission is to provide individualized care to those who are chronically ill, disabled, and elderly while maintaining the highest standards of care, enabling our clients to remain safely in their homes. Thank you for your support.
Our next honoree, Ed Palmieri Jr., became acquainted with the work of the agency as a longtime Elizabeth resident and former Union County freeholder. His son, Darrell, Union County Schools Superintendent, will present Ed with our first Business Leadership Award.
For years, the mission of JFS has been to provide specialized quality services to individuals and families in need. These services have been vital in the navigation of the COVID-19 pandemic. JFS provides a multitude of services, and one of these services includes financial management programs for families. This program aims to empower community members with the tools they need to manage their financial situations. Nobody has embodied this mission in the business community more than Ed Palmieri Jr. He is this year's recipient of the Business Leadership Award. Ed has devoted his professional life to providing necessary services to individuals, nonprofit organizations, municipalities, and boards of education. He has taken much pride in his work in the employee benefits business by designing cost-efficient and effective benefit programs. Ed Palmieri has built his life around his family and serving the community. His outstanding long-term service to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Union County is exemplary. He has played a positive role to so many children of our county and has built his legacy on honesty and integrity. Though he is being recognized tonight for his leadership qualities in business, my family and I have witnessed his leadership abilities our entire lives. He has served as our role model and #1 fan for both myself and my 3 sisters. He is always the first to applaud our accomplishments, but at the same time push us to strive for more. I couldn't be more proud than to introduce the first ever recipient of the JFS Business Leadership Award to my father, Ed Palmieri Jr.
Thank you, Darrell. I'm personally honored to be the recipient of the first ever JFS Business Leadership Award. Considering the fact that there are thousands of businesses in Elizabeth and Union County, it is truly a great thrill to be selected for this award. I have spent the last 3+ decades building a successful employee benefits business and insurance business. Along the way, I've worked closely with human resource personnel in the public, private, and particularly nonprofit sectors. We've been able to develop unique benefit programs that are not only cost efficient, but keep the best interest of all employees in the forefront. In addition, we have developed and managed retirement programs for employees that have assisted them in creating more lucrative retirement paths. I grew up a few blocks from here on Grove Street, not knowing much about JFS. But it wasn't until I served as a Union County freeholder in the mid-1980s that I really started understanding the great work and services provided by JFS for families and individuals in need. On a personal note, when a family member became ill 2 months prior to COVID, we reached out to JFS for assistance during his recovery period, which was during the heart of COVID. Even though we were in the midst of restrictions, JFS employees maintained professionalism, never wavered in their ability to provide excellent care in a safe manner. This is truly a wonderful organization that benefits all of our community. Finally, I'd like to thank my family for being the most important thing in my life. My wife of 44 years, Pam, our 4 children and their spouses, and finally my 11 wonderful grandchildren. Thank you and good night.
I am pleased to introduce our Executive Director, Tom Beck, who will present the Community Partner Award to Marion Z. Stern. Marion will be accepting the award on behalf of the New Jersey Pandemic Relief Fund as thanks for their $70,000 grant for food for our Charlotte Shack food pantry.
Marion, you have a long history of work in the nonprofit sector. Your resume of helping so many agencies has been outstanding. You have given of your time in so many ways for so many good causes. As a result, you were called upon by the New Jersey Pandemic Relief Fund, which assisted so many New Jersey-based agencies in the time of incredible need in the height of the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, Jewish Family Service of Central New Jersey helped 2,600 people a year in the food pantry program. During the height of the pandemic, we were serving 1,600 people a month, a dramatic increase. You and the New Jersey Pandemic Relief Fund recognized the tremendous need that the people in Union County were facing as a result of high unemployment and increased poverty, which only increased food insecurity. The $70,000 that we received from the Pandemic Fund allowed us not only to serve more people, but increase the amount of food they received. You and the New Jersey Pandemic Fund made such a positive difference in the lives of so many. It is my privilege to present the Community Partner Award to you on behalf of the New Jersey Pandemic Relief Fund.
Thank you, Tom. On behalf of the Founders, Leadership Board, and donors to the New Jersey Pandemic Relief Fund, I want to thank you for this very meaningful award. The Pandemic Relief Fund was established virtually overnight in early 2020 by a handful of New Jersey-based foundations to respond to the emerging critical needs of the citizens of New Jersey. I was a volunteer member and manager of the grant-making team of the fund. And as I read the many proposals requesting grants, I became increasingly in awe of the hundreds of nonprofit organizations that applied. Their staffs worked tirelessly and under extremely challenging conditions due to COVID to meet the needs of their constituents, whether they were providing food, shelter, mental health services, socialization, or other basic services. Chief among those nonprofit organizations was Jewish Family Service of Central New Jersey. While I think of myself as a JFS person, I was president of JFS of Metro West about 10 years ago. Unfortunately, I did not know Tom or Heidi or the Central JFS team until the pandemic. And in fact, I hadn't met Tom and Heidi in person until a few weeks ago. That said, we forged a strong relationship during the pandemic, and I am proud that I was involved in helping to secure 2 grants from the Pandemic Relief Fund to support your pantry. And I might note that Tom is the only grantee who I added to my contact list, and I believe that he now has me on speed dial. It has been an honor for me to learn about the life-saving work you perform for so many community members, and a privilege to receive this award tonight. I look forward to continuing my relationship with JFS of Central New Jersey and want to personally thank you, Tom, for inspiring me every time we speak.
JFS President Fred Kessler will present the Community Service Award to Assemblywoman Annette Cajano, who has done so much to encourage the Zimmerman Urban Community Garden, and most recently helped the agency receive funding for our new volunteer program.
Jewish Family Service is pleased to present its Community Service Award tonight to Assemblywoman Annette Cajano. I have had the pleasure of knowing Annette since shortly after she graduated from law school. During that time, she has served with distinction as Chief of Staff to Senator Lesniak, as Clerk to the Board of Freeholders, as Assistant Counsel to 3 governors, and since 2008 as a member of the New Jersey General Assembly, where she has risen to prominent positions of leadership. I could tell you about the committees that she has served on, the committees she has chaired, and all of the important legislation that she has sponsored, but I would rather talk about 2 qualities that define Annette. The first of those qualities is responsiveness to her constituents. Annette knows the people of the 20th District, she understands their needs and concerns, and she acts to address those needs. JFS is fortunate to be one of her constituents because we know that we can always turn to her for help. The second quality is the desire to improve the lives of New Jersey residents, particularly the less fortunate among us. Annette not only pursues this mission through legislation, she also engages in efforts like the Hunger Doesn't Take a Vacation program, which helps to feed the homeless, and her Emergency Preparedness program, which trains individuals to be ready for any kind of emergency and provides disaster supply kits. Annette embodies the spirit of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, that is also the mission of JFS. Annette, on behalf of Jewish Family Service, it is my pleasure to present you with this Community Service Award.
Generous individuals and families have created funds which help our agency to provide emergency financial assistance, mental health counseling for those who can't afford to see a therapist, kosher meals on wheels, help a family struggling with Alzheimer's disease, kosher food pantry packages. Go to the website on your screen to donate to any of these wonderful causes.
I hope you enjoy the JFS Virtual Gala Dinner. Click the button below to donate. We are very grateful for all that you do to help so many people in the community. See you next year.